First out, a big shout out to Harry, who managed to put on £7 over the festive period. A cracking
It's not
effort.
finished yet.
And has anyone else put on loads of weight? I mean, Harry, Bayliss, is that an extra chin? I can see.
I'm
No,
doing
you're not doing
alright.
too bad. Jack?
Well, I haven't got any scales. I tried to order some, but they haven't been delivered. Hermes messed it up, so that's a blessing in disguise, really. So who knows?
Excellent. Right. Okay. Well, we'll start with Tottenham. I'll be brutally honest. Tried to red card myself before the game and don't remember much of it as I was so drunk. But I believe, Harry, it was a 1-1 draw. I'll run through the team very quickly. Patricio, Semedo, Cody, Sace, Marçal, Neves, Matinho, Traore, Podence, Neto, Fabio, Silva. What do you think of that starting 11?
Yeah, I was happy with the starting 11. But then after 50 seconds, I was really devastated and I thought our life was going to end again after the Burnley game. But honestly, apart from that first minute, Spurs were pretty poor. We kept Son and Kane really quiet, two of the most informed players of the season. And we were so unlucky not to win the game, really. It'd have been a disaster if we didn't get the equaliser because we had so many chances and a lot of the play and created a lot of chances. But in the whole grand scheme of things, I was happy we got the draw, but I'm slightly disappointed we didn't get the win with the way we played.
Over live to our wingback correspondent, Dan Bailey. So, Dan, how the wingbackers do in that one?
Yeah, as with the other game we're going to discuss, Wolves have had two games where they've been absolutely brilliant for 99% of it, and we've taken 1 point. So I'm disappointed, to be perfectly honest. You know, it's about fine margins in this league, and Wolves are losing them at the moment, and pretty badly. And I think we don't. It's bad to just focus on individual errors and individual issues, but you have to because that's our job. That's why we're here, for people to talk about that and discuss it openly. And it's always good to have open conversation about it. But it is at the moment. It's just minor lapses in concentration, technical things that keep going wrong for us. I think we were the better side against Tottenham for most of the game. Tottenham were negative. Again, Son and Kane did nothing really for pretty much most of the match. Son won the corner for the goal. That's it. We created tons of chances, but then again, we've got no one really to stick him in the net. The Silva chance at the end, unfortunately, is just naivety. Let's call it naivety for now. A good top player really does bury that. I mean, Raul Jimenez heading that, he would have put Lloris the ball and the net in the South Bank.
You love that one, don't you?
Yeah, it's my favourite.
It's off of an egg. Jack, it was Sace that was Moroccan around the Christmas tree. A fantastic header. Jimenez would have been proud watching on from the stands.
Yeah, it was great. And I just love the fact that we scored it from an actual normal corner. And I think the last normal corner that we scored from was against Sheffield United when Sace headed it in. It's almost like if you just whip the ball in the box, sometimes someone can get on the end of it and score rather than messing around outside.
Jack, we said on the WhatsApp group for 20 minutes, 30 minutes before it happened, attack the near post. Just attack the near post and we're going to get a chance. And it happened. And it nearly happened against United. Why have Wolves had such a tendency for not going in there and trying to beat them out?
Corners, man.
I don't know. I don't know if he thinks of these short corners, but say again, sorry?
How frustrating is it to see something work like that and work to a time that we keep going back to and go, look, this works?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I think now, probably from feedback, I'm not sure, probably from because it's all over Twitter and everywhere, that it looks like in the last two games they have changed it a little bit and they're taking a lot more normal corners, or the ones that do play short, they're just getting it in the box straight away rather than messing about with it. So they might play it short and then whip it in immediately, which if you're chasing a game in particular, it's the best thing to do, isn't it? But Spurs overall performance, it was brilliant. It was just really, really annoying that first the first 90 seconds or so. The ball goes out. Patricio is obviously, I think he's unsighted, so it flies in. But as from that point, I thought we were the better team. We kept them really quiet. And I don't think they had a shot in the second half. Definitely not a shot on target that I can really remember. All it was Harry Kane throwing himself on the floor every time anyone went anywhere near him, trying to get a penalty, which was just frankly embarrassing at the end of it. I mean, that one at the very end where you're watching it back and he just tries to sort of heads it away from him and he just goes down looking for it. It's just... Other players, if they weren't the England captain, would get booked for that.
We raise a point on that. Because Silva got clipped, went down, no penalty. Everyone slams him. Diving, cheating, gear. Oh, he's learned how to dive as he at 18. Kane does exactly the same thing. It hasn't even been mentioned. And the commentator said, oh, well, he ran out of options there, so that's all he could do. And you think, well, absolute blatant dive.
Big debate off the
6
back of
points.
that. Big debate off the back.
Yeah.
Seb said in the WhatsApp group, right, the Fabio Silva one. There was comparisons made with the Brighton Arsenal game, I believe, and there was a similar incident where the player got clipped on the foot, went down. Like Fabio Silva, there's no doubt about it. He threw himself to the floor, but you look back at the video, he did get touched. In my opinion, it wasn't a penalty. But when you see other decisions like that being given, I can see why some Wolves fans were like, "Well, hold on." Like I think Carl Henry come out, didn't he, and said that's got to be a penalty. They've got to be consistent.
I thought the Arsenal one was
People, yeah.
worse. I thought the Arsenal one was. I still don't think they were both either were penalties, but it was more of a penalty than the Wolves one. It would have been very.
People
soft.
just want consistency, don't they? They want consistency, and it's very hard to. You can see it from week to week, or even the same games in the same weekend of fixtures, where it's not applied in exactly the same way. With the Fabio Silva one, I'm with you in thinking it wasn't a penalty, but I also don't think it was a dive. If there's contact, then he's fair enough to go down. However, I could see that it's given, and the thing I was thinking going through my head, I was like, if that happens to Bruno Fernandes when we play Man United in 2 days' time, that's a penalty, 100%. Not even any doubt in my head would that get given, or even if it probably in Harry Kane's favour. So it's just inconsistency, but I think it was harsh on Silva to get booked because he has taken his leg away from him, even with a little clip before, he's about to play the ball.
I have it on really good authority that Matt Doherty played in this game. How was he accepted or not, Harry?
Well, he got a hug off Nuno at the end of the game, so he was accepted by him. He didn't, like you say, was he even there? The Wolves fans weren't really commenting about him on Twitter either. He's really struggled, hasn't he, at Spurs since he's gone there. I think Bayliss says he'd rather have him than Semedo, but I wouldn't. He was good for us, but I don't like.
Rather have Lee Naylor than Semedo.
Rather have Lee Naylor.
Lee Naylor was a good player.
But no, Doherty, man, like he didn't do nothing. I think he played. Did he play left back? Have I made that up? Did he play left back for him?
He didn't get a chance to bomb forward much. He had
No,
one where
he didn't do nothing.
He had very little in the game.
Yeah, honestly, I can't remember if he played right or left back. I saw a team sheet, but I think it was wrong. But yeah, wherever he played, can't really remember anything.
Spurs were so negative that he never had a chance to get in the game anyway, did he?
And Neves and Moutinho, that partnership, Bayliss, how did it go on that one?
Fine. We're just not clicking, are we? We're not creating any chances. That's the issue. Defensively, we're fine at the moment for, as I said, 99% of the game. But yeah, they ping the nice balls around. Moutinho's solid, always is. I thought he was exceptional against Man United. The best player on the pitch, in my opinion. I don't know. We just don't know what's going on with the Wolves midfield. The two centre midfielders are sitting a bit deeper with one playing in front. And I think it means that Neves is slightly too deep and chances aren't falling to him. And he's, I don't know, doesn't seem himself, does he?
It was up to 21 points with the draw. Jack, do you think Nuno knows his best 11 for each occasion?
It's very difficult. I think he does know his best 11. The problem at the moment is half of that 11 are on the injury list. So there has to be rotation. And when it's sort of spanned to the crowd and there's Johnny, Jimenez, Bolly and Dendoncker all sat there together, you're thinking if they're all fully fit, they're probably all four of them started, aren't they? So that makes it even more difficult to then have to play Spurs, then Man United with a stupid less than 48-hour turnaround. So I think he's done the best he can, given really. On the midfield too, I think they did well in both games, personally. I always worry when Neves and Moutinho play together because I'd rather be Dendoncker then plus another one of them. But no, I think they both did well. They battled, and there's been question marks about both of them throughout the season, really. It started off with Moutinho, and then now it's sort of gone on to Neves, who was getting the harsh criticism. But both games, I thought they put in solid performances. Granted, they're not bombing forward and creating as many chances or scoring as many, but I thought we did all right. They both did all right, and can be proud of their performances.
Harry, I think Jack and I have both noted the bench has been looking weak recently. Look at that bench against Spurs, and of the 9, 4 of them actually started against United. Do you think, if you've got a weak bench and then essentially half of your bench then starts the next game away at Man United, you've got a bit of a problem, haven't you?
Yeah, but we know why that happened because of the quick turnaround and a lot of fatigue was in. But I've looked at the bench the last few games and I haven't even recognised some of the names on there from the under-23. So that's a slight worry, isn't it? But that's what's happened. We've had so much good luck with injuries under Nuno in his era, but this season it's just really hit us hard, hasn't it? Like everyone seems to be getting injured, but yeah, the bench is worrying. It really is. We've got so many under 23s popping up I've never heard of. It's slightly concerning, I think.
Bayless, let's bring in Manchester United on this one, because I think before the game you were saying that Nuno should do a Mick McCarthy and play the kids at United. You got a couple of pelters for that in the group. I want you to show you're working on that one.
It sort of did transpire a little bit. He did have to mix the team up because of fatigue. And I actually think they did very well. My thinking at the time was that I would rather try and go and beat Brighton and get 3 points than probably lose to Man United and then end up drawing and possibly losing to Brighton. That might still be the case. I don't want to see the likes of Neto and Podence getting injured in a potential no-hoper. And then within 15 minutes, I was wrong anyway, because we started very well against Man United and did very well again, 99% of the game. So I was right in the fact that if changes should have been made and were for the sake of fitness and keeping players fit. But let's see what we can now go and do at Brighton off the back of it, essentially.
Harry, Hoover came in for Semedo on that one. I know I should be asking probably the wing-back correspondent on this one, but we'll come to Dan afterwards just to hear what he thinks about Hoover. I thought he slotted in quite nicely into that berth.
Yeah, I noticed they put Cody right centre back and Sace in the middle of the five, which was mad, really. But yeah, he was brilliant. And Aït-Nouri was really good. Sace was really good. We, like Bailey said, we started off, I had not much hope at all. We defended really well. And because how well we played against Spurs, I thought we'd play a similar team, obviously not really thinking about the short turnaround, so we couldn't, and have a go and get something at United. But as soon as I saw that team, I was like, this is out the window, damage limitation. But fair play to the whole team. Heroic stuff at times defending. We created a lot of chances as well, but we just couldn't get anyone to stick it into the net. Fabio Silva didn't start, obviously, so he wasn't there to pop them in. But yeah, it comes to something when Sace is your main goal threat, doesn't it?
Well, got to go over to him now with the wing-back correspondent. Dan, is it looking like a little bit like your pairing that you want? Obviously, in an ideal world, it would probably be Johnny in the left.
There were positives and negatives to take. I think both the lads have very good games. They're clearly very young and have got to learn their trade a little bit more. I think at times the thing that you give them a pelt for is they're both a little bit weak up against one-on-ones and up against other players. Seb actually said it in the WhatsApp group. They need a bit of spinach in them. Which is apt from Seb because he needs more spinach and less pies. Sorry, Seb.
It means fewer.
I thought they were very good. I can't find much criticism in them other than the fact that they were a little bit weak in the tackle and the weak one-on-one, but that's something they've got to learn.
Bayless, Hoover or Semedo? That's the $1 million question. Who do you want to start from now on, Hoover or Semedo going forward in right wing back? Don't
given
do
how
this
Hoover
to us
played,
now.
I'd like it. Given how Hoover played, I would like him to be given a bit of a chance. Given that what I've seen from Semedo is getting better defensively, but still very little going forward. I would like Hoover to be given a 4 or 5 game run, see if he can grow into the team and grow into a role.
Jack, you're shaking your head.
That's not going to happen. I think he did well, and I wouldn't mind him featuring a little bit more going on. But I think Semedo was probably arguably a man of the match performance against Tottenham. It's the best he's played, I think. By
Jack, he had a cross that he pinged across the box, and it went out for a throw-in on the one bounce.
Yeah, but that happened. It doesn't matter what he does, does it? It's like you're saying, you either moan at him for attacking or defending, and he just picked the two. But he was solid, really good.
He also,
I thought, all round. You can laugh at. I know he also went up for a comical header and completely missed it, and it bounced over him, which was hilarious. But
I just think at the moment we're struggling with single mistakes that are giving us away goals and losing us points. And Semedo is a bit of an error-prone player. He might turn himself into a Richard Stearman-esque type, where he'll make one mistake a game. And unfortunately, when we're scoring 0, one mistake could be the difference between 1 point and no points.
Yeah, but then you'd argue that the problem is not the defence, is it?
I mean, we've got to have a go at Kilman for the Man United game, unfortunately. Now,
Kilman?
We thought, the goal is Kilman's fault, unfortunately. Although I think he's been very good and he had a great game. Same as Semedo. If someone does something wrong, you've got to call them out for it. Because that's what we're here to do.
What was heartbreaking was the deflection came off Sace, didn't it? And he had such a good game.
Yeah. And it just
so
crept in
annoying
as well. It's so annoying, isn't it? From behind a goal and just like
Patricio would have saved it.
That's the
If he'd
thing.
not
Yeah,
touched
if
anything.
he'd not touched it, Patricio would have got that. It wasn't a great strike.
That's a shout, lads. How good was Patricio? That one save first half on Bruno when they crossed
From
it
Fernandez.
Oh yeah, that was
in.
really
Yeah,
good.
Patricio
Yeah.
was like so safe, wasn't he? Brilliant.
he's a safe pair of hands. Isn't he? I mean, he's priceless in that regard, and he goes under the radar a lot a bit, I think, and through the rest of the pundits in the league. I think he does well.
Do you
He's
think,
definitely one of the best goalkeepers.
It's just come to me now, sorry. Do you think Nuno made the mistake? It might have been to do with fitness, but I thought when he brought Fabio on, he should have took Traore off and not Neto, shouldn't he?
Yeah.
That was
100%.
that felt like a mistake, but I'm assuming that Neto was absolutely knackered. That's the only thing I can think. Really.
Can we talk about Traore a little bit?
Yeah.
Because I know that there's obviously, if you're a Wolves fan listening to this, there is a very good chance you'd have seen what's been going on Twitter, and there's been a lot of controversy about Traore in general, the way he's been playing of late, and that it's wrong to criticise him. But we're not going to get into that argument. I think we just need to talk openly and honestly about what we think about his gameplay at the moment. And personally, I think when he gets the ball and wants to go forward, great. But he is lazy going back. There's no two ways about
it's
it.
lethargic. It's the wrong attitude to have if you're not going to track back, because we know that he can track back and he can track back quicker than anybody else, and he's the best person to start a counter attack, because every time he gets the ball, I'm sat there screaming at the TV saying you're not going to get the ball off him, because 9 times out of 10 you're not going to get the ball off him. But his decision making in the final third is atrocious.
I know that we're going to get caught. We're going to get pelters. We're going to get called racists, but sadly, he is thick. It's like it's evident just watching him play football. He's clearly not as intelligent as other people.
But we've always said that, haven't we? We've said it the last few years. Last year he was a world beater, but I thought he did okay first half. To be fair to him, there was a few occasions where he ran through and actually laid it off for once. But then second half he went back.
There was one though,
shooting that left-footed
Harry,
shot, man.
There was one where Neto was bombing through, and if he'd just had the ability, call it physical or mental ability, either one, just to slide him through, he was well in. He was well in, and a top level player would have.
That's why we miss Jimenez so much, is because he's not selfish in that kind of way. He's selfish when he needs to be, and he gets his goals, but he will lay off. And look, Traore's last goal against Man City, way back when, last December, was the perfect example of Jimenez going past Otamendi, and he rolled it past him as he did, and then he put in Traore, and you very rarely, if at all, see it the other way around.
Still
that was the wrong game, though.
Yeah,
that was the wrong game. To be fair, that was the away at Man City. Yeah,
that's his last goal, though.
No,
his last goal was at home, wasn't it? The home Man City game, yeah.
The second
one. My thing with Traore is, it seems like he always has glimpses of being great. And like I've always said before, the commentators love this when he gets on the ball in the first 10 minutes, takes on 2 players. And then I don't know if he loses interest or his head goes a little bit or he gets too confident, but it usually happens after he's been kicked up in the air or when he's like lay on the floor, he's sat on the floor with his arms out, like even when it's not a foul,
Jack,
he just sits there.
It must be knackering.
It's not knackering.
I'm not condoning it, but
I'm not saying it's not knackering. I'm just saying sometimes it just looks like he's on the floor looking at the linesman for a foul when it's not a foul. He just needs to get up.
Disagree.
He always fades when he gets to about this. If he starts a game, when he gets to about 67 minutes, he just fades, man. He's never going to start running back. And when we're hanging on like we're sitting deep and it gets booted up the pitch and he's there, you just think, he ain't holding this up. You know what I mean? He's not going to trap it and he won't run for balls. Like if the ball don't come straight to him, to his feet, he is absolutely no use whatsoever. The best time to use him is to bring him on as a sub, isn't it? He's an impact player, really, which is a bit ashamed to say.
He's a nice to have player, unfortunately. If you are a very good team in a winning mentality, going forward, creating loads of attacks, Traore's your perfect man. Doesn't matter if he, loses the ball.
It's a shame because last season he was absolutely unbelievable, but now he's gone back to the way he was the first season. It's just strange what's happened. Maybe it's
he's got no one to cross it to. He's got no one to cross it to.
That doesn't help. Yeah, it doesn't help.
I think his head might have gone a little bit. I think he might have been like swayed by all these rumours about going to Liverpool, Man United, whoever for 70 million.
Jack, the best club in England have bid for him, apparently. Leeds.
Villa.
Oh, he'd never fit in at Leeds. We said last week, didn't we? We said last week about Leeds. He wouldn't fit in.
They are in the Champions League already, Harry.
They battered the Albion, though, didn't they? That was fun to watch.
Without sounding like Bayliss on tomato, we've got to bring up Neves just to satisfy me, really. And
not getting
said it last week. He's not what?
Not getting enough at home, are you?
Yeah. So I don't think he's not doing it on a weekly basis. The stats show that 2.5 years worth of stats. I think Seb said it in the group yesterday, Harry. I'm trying to base it on the Ruben Neves of the Championship, which is about 4 goals and 3 assists. So I'd be expecting that in the Premier League.
Yeah, we spoke about it a bit last week as well. I agree with Jack though. He did have a decent game against United, and he was also okay against Spurs. But he hasn't been the same, has he? He hasn't been the same. He needs against United. To be fair to him, he did have a couple of shots, didn't he? Or I remember at least one on the edge. Yeah. That's where he's good, but he just needs to click with him. Where I don't know if he needs to go forward more, but it just seems to be his game to be deep, and he is not good enough. You know what I mean? He's not good enough for a majority of games. He's really inconsistent. And
I think there are two things.
Burnley was terrible. Yeah.
I think there are two things. He's clearly now playing deeper than he was. I think that's evident from the Championship year to now. He's playing most of his balls in around the centre circle, if not in their own half. Secondly, everyone's sussed him out a little bit. He has not had many opportunities with the ball free at his feet within 25 yards of goal.
Kicks on the edge of the area. I'm sorry, but
didn't Says take a free kick against Tottenham?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
what's that all about? Like, why ain't Neves taking that?
Neves hasn't been taking free kicks for a while, and I'm not quite sure why. But
he used to bottom top bin, didn't he? He used to always love taking a free kick.
Top bin doesn't matter, does it? If you're playing Sunday League, the Championship, Premier League, if you're putting it anywhere near the top corner, there's a very, very good chance you're going to score.
Yeah.
You just think that goal he scored against the Villa, where he got it on the edge of the area where it's rolled across and he banged it in the far side.
We haven't seen that for a while, have we?
No. We haven't seen that for a long time.
Or the Man United one last season at home.
Yeah, perfect. It just seems like a sort of situation that as a good team and managed team, you could manipulate a game to get one of those maybe once every couple of games. And we're not really seeing it. And I do wonder why. Because it just seems like we're struggling for goals. We've got a guy that can hit it from 35 yards into the top corner because he's done it. Why aren't we trying to get Neves on the ball and at least giving him 2 or 3 shies at goal a game?
He's got 84 Premier League appearances for Wolves, and he's created 9 big chances.
He's had more shots than that. He's had a lot of shots, so to be fair to him. He just doesn't seem to be clicking at the moment.
99% of them haven't hit the target.
Well,
that's the problem, isn't it? If you're not going to work the keeper, what's the point?
Yeah, he has. Obviously, he's not going to have the same goal return, I wouldn't have thought, as when we're in the Championship. But it is worrying that you think, who's our free kick takers lately? And I think Sasa surprised me lately, actually. He's done very well, but he can't be our biggest goal threat.
Well, he needs to be crossing them into himself at the moment.
You also have to say,
if Sasa's your free kick taker in the Premier League, then that ain't good enough, is it? To be honest, I mean, I'm still not convinced about his passing ability either, even though he did all right last night, to be fair to him. But we should be able to do better from a set piece taker than Roman Sase, you'd have thought.
It's at what point do you gamble? Wolves, someone put it in another group I'm in last night against Man United.
Your other friends?
I'm sorry. Wolves are starting to look a bit like Arsenal. They're just trying to pass the ball into the net. And I thought that's very weird because I've never noticed that before. But it's sort of a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's true.
Right, we've got nobody to head the ball.
Yeah, we got no. But then why not let the guy why not just have some pop shots? Why not just hit a ball, hope for a deflection, hope for a bit of luck?
To be fair, I think they have. They have been shooting. Neves has. He has had. He
had a couple against United.
Of the week.
It's not. I don't think it's for one of trying. The problem is more that happened on a lot of occasions last night. I know we reverted to 5 at the back, but when you're looking up to cross it into the box and people were getting free, then there was just nobody in there. And even when Silva came on, he didn't really do much to do. Let's be honest. I think he struggled a little bit. So even when we had the striker on, it wasn't as if he was making darting runs. And then there's only one player in the box against 4 Man United players. It's someone put on Twitter earlier actually that they'd be quite angry if Wolves didn't have a striker lined up for the very start of January, because we can't do another month like this, and we've known about this injury for a while now. So, and he's got a point, to be fair.
With the Neves point, it's just to compare him to players who I think you would never ever put in the same bracket when you're talking about the similar players or price range. I know he's one of Dan's favourites from back in the day, Che Adams. Compare him to him this season. Both got the same amount of appearances. Che Adams has 4 goals, 4 assists. and
He
Ruben
was
Neves
playing
has
as
no
a second
goals,
forward,
no
though.
assists.
It's different
Jay
positions.
Adams was playing as a second forward.
The goals are there.
Yeah, but he's been playing as a forward.
So
I'm saying
he needs to
Neves
to
hardly
be
crossed the halfway
less. But that's the then that's the problem, isn't it? Because I think they're similar players in the way they play.
But it's hard to not have sort of two sitting midfielders when we're playing with wing backs and wingers, because it would just leave us too exposed. I mean, if you were going to play these three midfielders and put Neves furthest forward, then it's not really his position, is it?
Nuno is turning Neves into Giammattino for when he goes.
I think that's the right thing to do.
Well, he's not going to score, then, is he? Martinez's got 2 in his entire time at Wolves.
But they shouldn't be playing together. Though. That's
Bournemouth
the
and
difference. Martinez shouldn't be playing the amount of games he's playing.
We haven't got much choice at the moment, though, have we? That's the thing. Like you can only really play Otasawi, and he's played about half a game of Premier League football. So it's too big of a risk.
You've got to play him though, haven't you? Surely.
We've got to be careful though, Sam. It's going to be fucking Pokemon cards on the Buster games at this rate. It's like a school trip.
I wonder where you're going with that then.
Yeah. I got it in the end.
Very old reference. Let's have a look at Brighton.